Hey guys, welcome to today's video. It's basically already time for high-end makeup releases. Usually in the January-February timeframe, we see a slowdown of high-end releases and an uptick in the drugstore releases. Although there were some, I feel like they happened in December because I feel like I started testing some new drugstore releases right at the end, and now we're on to more high-end releases. There's been some that have come out that I haven't been able to test, but on today's agenda, we're gonna be testing all of the new releases from the Sephora Collection. So I think I picked up everything that they dropped. That includes their setting powder. It includes their highlighters. They dropped a contour, the colorful contour. No, they don't call it colorful contour. It's just called the contour powder. But the highlighters are called the colorful luminizers. We also have their Best Skin Ever Glow Concealer. I'm interested to try that. We're gonna do a wear test so you guys can see what it looks like at the end of the evening. So let's hop into it. As you can see, I have done my eyeshadow and I have done my base, and that is it. So we need to throw on this concealer first. So let's jump right into talking about this. This little guy retails for $15. It looks like they're going for the Best Skin Ever concealer to match the foundation, which, if you guys are not new to my channel, you know that used to be one of my holy grails, but now that my skin is more combo oily, it doesn't last on me very long, but I do like the Best Skin Ever. The last bottle I had it almost finished off. So this is supposed to be a lightweight, radiant, multi-purpose formula that corrects, conceals, and instantly brightens under eyes for a glowing, natural complexion that leaves skin luminous and hydrated for 12 hours. If you are also not new to my channel, you know that I do prefer a more mattifying foundation, but a more radiant concealer, just because my under eyes tend to be 39 years old. So they have their lines, they're doing their thing. I just prefer something a little bit more hydrating and maybe not luminous and radiant necessarily, but definitely hydrating on the under eyes. So this does come in 30 different shades. It's supposed to be super lightweight formula. It offers medium coverage. I have mine in the shade 20 Cream. With the Sephora Collection base product, I had trouble shade matching myself in the Best Skin Ever foundation, but also in the Best Skin Ever full coverage concealer. This product is made in Italy. I believe most of Sephora's stuff is made in Italy. No, the powder is made in the USA. I think we have a varying degree of where these products are all made. So anyway, let's get to applying this. I am going to use a sponge today. This is a very small doe foot applicator, unlike their Best Skin Ever full coverage concealer, which I just recently decluttered. That one was very big, like just a big container, a big doe foot applicator. So this one is supposed to be light skin with neutral undertones. There is the swatch on this. This is so much better a shade match than I have done in their previous stuff. I don't mind a tiny little doe foot applicator. Actually, let's just start on one side. Sometimes I kind of prefer smaller doe foot applicators just because I can get pretty precise. So this is supposed to be medium coverage, you guys, with that radiant finish. I definitely see the radiance. It's maybe more light coverage. I started on my darker under eye. I don't know if you guys have a darker under eye, but I definitely feel like this side is darker. Plus I do have my scar on that side. So we're gonna build it up. I wanna see if we can't get more coverage out of it. However, if you guys have seen any of my other videos, you know I am not one to build a concealer. If it cannot do medium coverage for me on the first go round, I pretty much do not want it unless I'm looking for light coverage. But the problem with building it up is that tends to make it so that it's thicker, and then it definitely sinks into the fine lines that I have on my under eyes. But you know what? This didn't look heavy at all. That second layer was actually really nice medium coverage, but I had to build it. I think it's more light coverage right away. It looks very pretty, very, very lightweight, not overly radiant. And if you guys are like me and you set your under eyes 100% of the time, you're gonna take away a lot of the radiance anyhow. So far, I really like the way that looks. It looks super natural. It's like a really good shade match for me too. Let's go under this eye because maybe you guys can see a little bit better the coverage level because my left one is so dark. You know, the consistency of this reminds me a lot of the Lancome Serum Concealer, where I go really heavy on my under eyes with that concealer because it's so lightweight, watery, very serum-like that it can take it. And so I get a better coverage level out of it without having to layer it up. This is very light on first pass. This is not a medium coverage concealer right away. I don't think you get medium coverage on this with one swipe. I feel like I'm just adding and adding. I do feel like my eyes are pretty dark today. I don't know why. I guess I slept like doo-doo last night. I sleep like doo-doo a lot. I don't personally see too much radiance to it. Others might see more radiance than I'm seeing, but I mean, it's so slight. I mostly see it out here where I drug it out kind of to the high points of my cheeks, but I don't really see it under my under eyes. With this wear test, you guys, I will show you what it looks like in natural light, in case right now it's really difficult to see at this distance and in these lights. So I will show you guys on my phone. Let's go into the setting powder next. Only other setting powder that I've used from Sephora is the Micro Smooth Pressed Powder. I feel like I did just recently declutter that as well because I was really trying to pare down my collection. And that was more like a finishing powder. For me, I need something a little bit heavier. So this also does retail for $15. It is supposed to be translucent and universal loose setting powder that blurs skin texture and sets your makeup for a soft. Just ends at for a soft. There's literally even a period at the end. For a soft. Okay. Coverage is light, finish is natural, incredibly lightweight powder to mattify skin, ultra smooth, jet milled setting powder. Yeah, blurs fine lines and imperfections. And it only comes in that one shade. It only comes in translucent. I have to commend Sephora this time for not wrapping the products from top to bottom, because usually all their stuff comes like super sealed and it's like, it's unnecessary. Looks like that, nothing fancy. I'm gonna use my little puffy. We're gonna start with that left under eye, see if it gives us any additional coverage, see how well it mattifies. This kind of looks a little yellow. I happen to think that a lot of Sephora stuff tends to run a little bit yellow. So that is it on the left under eye. It blurs, doesn't add a ton of coverage. However, I do not think this is an overly mattifying powder. It's very finely milled though, very, very lightweight. Yeah, not overly matte. Not typically something that I would reach for the T-zone. I can already tell you this is not enough for me and my wonderfully oily T-zone. It's pretty though. It definitely blurs. I like that. I do like that it's this lightweight, finely milled powder. Will it become Carrie's holy grail? I'm betting no, but it's nice. I've been decluttering every powder that doesn't lock it down for me. I've just been noticing lately that a setting powder is so critical for me. It's like the biggest aid in making my makeup last. Where other things like a setting spray or a makeup primer just aren't cutting it, it really has to do with like what setting powder I'm using and how mattifying it is. I'm gonna jump ahead and I'm going to go into the mascara next. I'm really excited to try this. I don't know if I'm gonna love this wand. If you guys hear me talk about wands, it's such a big deal. This retails for $12 in the full size. They do sell a mini size for half that, $6. This is Love the Lift Curling and Volumizing Mascara. So lifting, curling, and volumizing. It's supposed to be long wearing, ultra black and buildable weightless mascara with a 12-hour lifted volume effect. Volumizing and curling. So I'm also into a volumizing mascara much more than a lengthening one these days. I don't prefer a curved wand and I prefer the bristles to be shorter. I like this packaging. It's like duochrome, purple and blue. It's actually really pretty. It's got a full-on purple wand. It's only slightly curved, so that's not bad. And it does have your molded plastic bristled wand. Let's go in. I didn't even curl my lashes today, so we'll see how well this guy curls them. Let's start with the right eye. I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. All right, I have a couple of thoughts already. So I do think it's curling. I actually do think it's curling quite a bit. Maybe my most curling mascara right now. Wow, it does really look like it curled them, doesn't it? I think it gives me a wispy effect. I don't know if it's like volumizing in that it is really adding a ton of texture. Well, no, I think it is. I think it is pretty volumizing. The thing is, it's a wetter formula. Like right away, I can tell the difference between a tackier one that really grips my lashes and it coats pigment from like root to tip. Whereas a wetter formula, I find I build a little bit more to get that volumizing effect. I personally like something that grips my lashes, so a tackier, stickier formula, as opposed to one that's on the wetter side that kind of just like, you know, combs through like that. I think it gives me pretty decent volume though. I liked that. I think the thing I notice most is just how much it's curling my lashes. I don't mind the pigmentation once I built it up, but I didn't care for how lightly pigmented it was kind of right away. I think because it's a wetter formula, it stays wetter longer. Yeah, it's still wet enough that I'm building it even after talking. So that's nice if you really like to build your mascara up. I could take building or leaving either way, but I would prefer that it takes me less time and I build less. That's actually darn pretty. Quite a bit of volume. It's feathery though. It's a feathery volume. It's not like a thickening volume. I'm really into mascaras if you guys can't tell. Again, just feel like I'm kind of hypercritical of a mascara. Eyes are my favorite thing on a face, and I have had decently long eyelashes that are super thin, super fine, and basically blonde that doesn't look like I have any until I put on mascara. So mascara for me has been such a big deal my whole life. So I'm really into a dang good mascara. All right, we're going into the other eye. Yeah, I really do think the thing that this mascara does best is curl. So if you have trouble holding a curl, I actually think this is a really good mascara. I feel like the one from One Size, the Fantasize mascara, was my other really good curling mascara. I think you need a really lightweight formula in order to be curling. So for that, I think you do need a wetter formula because the thicker formulas tend to weigh my lashes down. But everybody has a preference as it comes to mascara. So I try and at least disclose that when I'm testing a new mascara. But yeah, I think the curl is probably the best that I have currently. I will show you guys what this looks like in natural light, and we will do a wear test on this because we're doing it on the concealer to see whether or not it like transfers or smudges or anything. The likelihood of that for me right now, because it's on the dry side outside, is probably pretty slim, but we'll test it. I never know. Sometimes I'm surprised. Let's go into the contour powder. I have mine in the shade Fair to Light. So last year, I think at the end of the year, they replaced the blushes. They reformulated them, and I did pick up 2 of those shades. I thought it was good, but I never thought anything was wrong with the original formula. So it looks like now they're reformulating their contour. So this comes in 4 different shades. I have the lightest, which is 01 Fair to Light. And it's supposed to be just a matte finish, medium coverage, ultra fine, highly pigmented contour powder, it says. Here is the shade. I'm just gonna take a pretty fluffy brush and just kind of swoop it under the cheekbone. I'm not big into contouring, you guys, so I don't know if I'm the best person to like test this product. However, I have been into such neutral bronzers these days. If you guys are not new to my channel, I've been saying that over and over. You know, as preferences change, that's kind of the way it goes. I'm just like lightly swooping it. It's definitely nicely pigmented. It's laying on pretty nicely. I mean, there's nothing fancy about this particular product. It's either shaded right or it's not. It's either patchy or it's not. So here I'm just like, okay, it's a good shade, it's powder, and it contoured. That is kind of how I feel about this product. But I feel like if you're really into something more neutral, you're not liking super orangey, bronzy tones, or just a powder contour in general, because this retails for $14, Sephora is pretty affordable, so it might be one to check out. Okay, now we need to go into these luminizers, otherwise known as highlighters. So these also retail for $14. They came in a good range of shades. It looks like 6 different shades. It's just supposed to be light, shimmery, natural glow, basically. And I picked up 2 shades, which are 06, which is Rose Quartz. And then I also picked up one, kind of looks shifty for a second, 05 Iced Pearl, yes, which is a golden champagne tone. So we'll do one on either side. I'm never really sure when it comes to highlighters what shades I'm gonna like from the line. Sometimes I get very surprised. I feel that way about blush too. I don't feel that way about like bronzers or really anything else, but highlighters and blushes, I'm coming to find the undertones really make such a difference. So sometimes I prefer one that I didn't think I would. So I've been trying to pick up at least 2 shades when it comes to a highlighter and a blush for the purposes of reviewing the products, because I feel like there might be a lot of other people out there that kind of feel the same way as me. And let's swatch this one that looks kind of shifty in Iced Pearl. I don't know why it looks a little shifty. Can you guys see that? Like, is that it right there? Like, it just looks a little bit shifty. This is sitting like above the pan. I hope that doesn't mean it might fall out. This packaging is pretty cheap. This does have a shift to it in Iced Pearl. See, you never really know what you're gonna get until you kind of get it here. It shifts pink. Can you guys see that? Okay. And then Rose Quartz. I mean, this one looks pretty darn rosy to me. So what am I gonna get with Rose Quartz? A peachy shade. There is Rose Quartz. Rose Quartz is so much lighter. I mean, you'd imagine it would be against something that's called Iced Pearl. But the pearl, I'm telling you guys, looks super pink, and this Rose Quartz looks literally peachy. I'm going to take this like concealer brush, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, concealer buffing brush. And I'm gonna go into Rose Quartz on the left side. This is on the lighter side, I think. You know, comparatively to some of my other more intense highlighters. I think it looks peach on my fair skin though. This was the one in Rose Quartz. Same thing on the swatch. It just looks a little bit peachy on my skin. I actually think this is pretty good. I want to say that it doesn't sink into the skin perfectly. It's a lighter glow. It's more natural. But let's test this one out in Iced Pearl, because that's the one I felt like looked more intense. So I'm cleaning off my brush here because I'm going to use the same one. It looks like a pretty smooth baked formula, but it definitely kicks up a good amount of powder. The level of intensity changes. This one is definitely more light reflecting. I am going to take a fluffier brush. This is the Rare Beauty brush. Yeah, it's still very, very powdery. I thought if I changed, it might change a little bit. Maybe that was too dense of a brush, but no, this is a very powdery formula. But this is a little bit more intense. I don't know about these. These ones I'm not like, I'm like, they're okay, but that was a lot of powder, you guys. They're pretty darn light. They might be a little bit too light for me personally. So let me gather my final thoughts on everything, and then we'll go do the natural light check-in. I think the concealer might be my favorite thing. Like besides, I don't know, these two, they're kind of tied. I really enjoy a lighter weight, medium coverage. And if you're gonna be light coverage, be so lightweight that you're buildable. And I think that's this. And also Radiant is fine because I'm gonna set my under eyes so long as it's not greasy like the, what concealer am I thinking about? That greasy hot mess. Was it the Iconic London? I literally cannot remember. It literally, when I like tipped it over, just leaked into my drawer. If it's not that, it's fine. Like I love a Radiant concealer. I also like the powder. I think it's ultra smoothing. Just don't know if it's like my mattifying dream, because I really do like something that locks my makeup down. I love this mascara so far. Again, don't know if it's going to become one of my favorites, but it could. So that's how I feel about it. It definitely could, depending upon how it wears. The ones that wear a little bit better and longer, I like those a little bit more, but it's such a good curling mascara. Maybe not my best volumizing one, but it's a darn good curling one. The contour powder for me is just matte. I don't know if this would make it through like a brutal declutter. It might make it through like a minor one. And I think that these highlighters are pretty light. But anyway, that's kind of my initial thoughts on everything. But let's go do the natural light check-in for you guys. I'll try to do it again at 4 hours, and then we will definitely come back, at least so that I can tell you guys how the concealer held up and whether or not it faded off within 5 minutes or sank in. I don't think it's gonna sink in, but it could, you never know. And then of course you guys can see how the mascara is holding up. So this is where I will exit. See you guys when it's dark outside. It looks super dreary, but it's about 9:30 in the morning right now. Just a kind of crummy day here. So I will catch you guys shortly. Hey guys, welcome back. It is about 8 o'clock, I want to say, maybe 8:30. Hold on. No, 8:05. Okay, we've had the concealer and the mascara on for, what does that make that, 10.5 hours roughly? Like by the time I kind of finished filming. Let me jump right into showing you guys what it looked like in natural light. It looked really good. The mascara also looked really good. You can definitely kind of see the curl close up. You can see that the concealer doesn't look too heavy. It's not sinking into my fine lines right away. Then I did another check-in for you guys at the 4-hour mark in natural light, and everything still looked really good. I mean, my foundation was wearing down, but the concealer didn't seem to be wearing down. The foundation wasn't flaking or smudging or anything like that. Here we are about 10 hours later. Yeah, about 10 hours later, I guess. And even though the foundation is kind of faded, the concealer did a pretty good job. But I am gonna say, I don't think it's my favorite concealer. I think that when I layered it up on this eye, especially, because I think I may have gone back in with more than 2 layers. I can't remember now, but it seemed to look a little dry on this under eye. Not so much on this one. Little bit of settling because it looked a little bit dry and a little bit heavy. I think the powder was actually nicer than I realized. I want to say that this powder made the foundation last a little bit longer than it normally would. You can see like how oily I get on my nose. Not too bad right now, pretty normal for me. I mean, this is like pretty much what happens in the T-zone, but I do feel like it looked heavier as the day went on. I don't know if that's what it looks like in the 4-hour mark, but I kind of felt like I saw it under my under eyes and kind of across my nose more than I would like to see a setting powder. So even though this claims to be like jet milled, I feel like it's a little bit heavier than some of my other favorites. But I feel like this would be a good powder for me personally to use, or somebody to use that has more oily skin in the summer months. I don't know if I would recommend this to people with dry skin. I just feel like it definitely felt a little bit heavy on the skin. Honestly, if you have dry skin, I think their Micro Smooth setting powder that is in the pressed powder form is probably the way to go. This one I'd say is definitely better for people with combo to oily skin. Even normal, I would say use the Micro Smooth setting powder. Now let's move on to this mascara. I feel like I fell more in love with this mascara as the day went on. And here we are 10 hours later. I feel like it's still curling my lashes. So I'm highly enjoying this mascara. No smudging, no flaking, no doing funny stuff, and it still looks really, really good. The mascara was my favorite thing of today's try on. The contour powder, by the time I got downstairs and I was like looking at myself in the mirror, I was like, oof, it's just a little dark. And I was like literally trying to like rub it off because I just didn't like the way that it looked. This is just not a product for me at all. These seem to like fade off like instantly. These luminizers, these highlighters. So no, I'm just not a fan of either of those. I feel like you can just skip those totally. The concealer is also not my favorite if we're just breaking it down. I have other concealers that are better than this. I'll have to keep giving it a shot with just one layer, but that one layer was so light coverage. It just wasn't the type that I could see myself reaching for. Honestly, the only thing of today that's gonna become something I probably really enjoy reaching for is this mascara. For just my personal preferences, I like a little bit of drama in my lash. But anyway, that's the end of the video today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'm out of here, and I hope to catch y'all in my next one. Bye, guys.